Hello and welcome back to Potty Mouth, the show where the jokes are dirty and our minds are dirtier. I'm Aaron, this is Blake.
How you doing?
And today on the Potty Cast, we are talking about toys, playing with them, talking about them, childhood, growing up, toys.
Smacking with the toys.
You're doing what with the huh?
Nothing.
Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite childhood toys and memories from those toys. So, not really dirty today, just kind of hanging out, chilling.
Aww.
Because Friday is Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So that's going to be fun. Well, actually, do you have any plans for Valentine's Day?
Going on a trip.
Going on a trip?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Baja Mar.
Really?
On Valentine's Day.
That's nice.
Yes.
Where's that at? Is it in Baja?
That's what it's called. I'm trying to think of... Is it like Puerto Rico area? I have no idea.
I honestly don't know. I was just joking.
I mean, we could look it up. I mean,
so Baja.
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 It's a 3-year-old resort.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Oh, this would be so much fun.
Romantic.
Very romantic.
Yeah. Cool. That'll be fun.
What about you?
I think me and the wife are just gonna go out of town for a couple days.
There you go.
Don't think we're gonna do anything crazy. I think we're just gonna go. We like going to Chicago. Chicago is like one of our favorite places to go.
We are going to Chicago
For some reason. It's not. There's so many other places we can go, but it's actually kind of a tradition for us. We like not to go to Chicago on Valentine's Day, just to go. It's kind of a tradition. When we go to Chicago, we go to Harry Carey's. It's not on the pier for those of you that go to Chicago or live in Chicago. We go to the Harry Carey's off. I think it's off Kinsey Street. I think.
I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've been in Chicago.
They have super good steaks. No, it's not. You were just there.
Oh my gosh, I was. I was probably too drunk to even remember.
I was like, wait, you were just at Friendsmas. What are you talking about? So Friendsmas, for those of you that don't know already, it's a thing me and my wife do every year. We take the people that are closest to us in our lives, and we take them to Chicago for dinner, and we stay in the hotels, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, he got to go first year, really. So
I was pretty drunk.
Yeah, we ordered a lot of wine. We ordered so many. We had like 10 bottles probably, and then we went back to the hotel and drank some more.
You probably saw a side of me you never thought you'd see.
That's not true. I've seen you worse on this show.
Worse?
Oh my god. Yeah, remember when Matt was on the show?
Oh shoot. That was pretty bad.
No. Now, filming wasn't bad. We were fine filming. After filming.
Afterwards was pretty bad.
We were very bad. Actually, so we went to get pizza after we wrapped, and there's a picture of me and Blake in the back seat of the car, and we look like a gay married couple. Like, it's just,
hey.
If I have the picture, I'll put it like right here. I don't know if I have it, but it'll be here somewhere. For those of you watching, it'll right there. And my wife is the one taking the photo, so that was but yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, you were just there. So we go to Chicago, we go to Harry Carey's, and yeah, it's a good time. So we'll probably go there. I think it's what we'll do. Although, a funny story. Okay, so last year, last Valentine's Day, I went to K Jewelers and I bought my wife some earrings, and they were like these. They weren't anything big. They were like a 1/8 carat diamond with, it wasn't like super flashy. It was nice.
Sure.
And so I got those for her, and we went to Sullivan's that night for dinner. Sullivan's in Indiana. It's over by the Fashion Mall. It's a pretty nice steakhouse. They have a set menu for that night. And it was really, really good. So we get there, and we're sitting out in the foyer waiting to be seated.
The foyer.
Yeah, I knew I was going to use a fancy word, and he was going to be like, oh. Just sitting on the foyer, and we were talking, and there was this jewelry coupon like on the table by the bench that we were sitting at. And she looks over at it, and then she kind of looks at me, And she goes, I'm like, what? And she goes, nothing. And I'm like, no, what? And she's like, promise me something. And I was like, okay, what? And she's like, don't buy me any stupid jewelry for Valentine's Day.
Too late.
And I had already bought her earrings, diamond earrings. And so we go to sit at our table. And so I'm like, so why don't you want me to get you jewelry? And she goes, well, I think it's just like a stupid thing. People spend so much money and they just waste the money. And it's like in half the time that people don't even wear the jewelry.
That ain't no joke.
And so as she's saying this, I go, well, happy Valentine's Day. I set the box in front of her and she goes, oh my God. And I'm like, she's like, no, you did. Why didn't you stop me? And I was like,
I want to hear more.
because I was like, well, it's funnier this way. And so she opens it and she sees it. Fun story. She hasn't taken them off since I bought them for her.
Hey, ooh. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's funny because she's like, I think she feels bad. I think she's like, I'm never taking these off.
Well, especially after she said, and they never wear them.
Yeah, well, and they're little studs. Like they're only like that big,
Okay.
but they're
Space.
yeah, itty bitty living space. But yeah, so they're nice and she wears them and they're cute. But yeah, it was a funny story because like she
Still a very good
completely denied me. But it was funny. So anyway, back to the matter at hand. Toys. So we have our top 5 favorite toys growing up, and we're gonna just go through and talk about the favorite toys that we had growing up, starting with 5 all the way to our number 1 most favorite top toy ever.
So is there an age limit?
Just kind of tell me the age you were when you had that toy.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead. You start with number 5.
All right. So number 5. I'm going to actually go from ages.
Okay.
So
You're like youngest to oldest?
yeah, youngest to oldest for me, just because like it's more memorable
Sure.
the older you get.
Well, yeah, because you remember more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was about 5 or 6 years old, this is the time I actually got into more of Disney and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I was really big into like Lion King.
That's okay. Yeah, sure.
Lion King. So like I had like all the stuffed animals for Lion King when it came to like Simba and Timon, Pumbaa.
Like the stuffed animal? You said the stuffed animals for it? Okay.
I was actually very big into Beanie Babies.
Oh,
I have
okay.
a big old Beanie Baby
Didn't like
collection.
McDonald's have like the Beanie Baby, like the characters?
Yeah,
the
at some
time?
point they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they did it for like all these different Disney shows and
Yeah.
everything like that. Movies, I should say.
Movies.
But no, I would collect them, and that would be the toys I would always play with. You know, like I would get these toys from time to time of like Nerf guns and stuff like that, and those were fun. But at the end of the day, I always reverted right back to the Beanie Babies, the stuffed animals and stuff like that. It was so weird.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, I'm a weird kid in general, but
this is a fair statement.
it is very fair.
But then who isn't a little weird?
Hi-oh.
Yeah. As you've learned, we are both very fucked up at this point. So
Yes.
yeah.
But yes, so Disney Beanie Babies.
Disney Beanie Babies. That was your first childhood toy.
Yep.
Right on.
That I can remember.
Yeah, sure. My number 5. It's not my youngest childhood memory of a toy that I loved, but it definitely was a big impact on my young childhood. Was G.I. Joe.
Uh-oh.
Freaking G.I. Joe. Is this on your list too? It is, isn't it? Is it number 1?
No.
Oh, okay. It's like number 3 or something? We can talk about it.
What, G.I. Joe?
Yeah, G.I.
Nope.
Joe.
I actually never got really into that.
Man, okay, so G.I. Joe. I watched the movies. I had the comic books. I didn't have the 1-foot doll or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have those. I didn't like those. They were too like hard to move around. So I had the little like 3-inch action figures.
Yeah.
The 3-inch ones. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and I would take my blankets off the bed and I would like carve like ravines and stuff in the blankets, and I would pretend they were firefighting back and forth. And this was where my imagination really started kicking, because my dad would always play with me, and he built these like really cool. He would take parts of old toys that are broken and put them all together to make like a spaceship or something. And so it was like GI Joes in space. It's like the coolest thing ever. I think my dad still has some of the toys.
First and foremost, that is awesome that your dad was willing to just play with you.
Yeah.
And use your imagination when it came to it, and like kind of run with it.
Well, and he would help me form stories. So like I wasn't a kid that like.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I wasn't a kid that was kind of like, you have to do it my way. I was the kind of kid that would like, I want to do it this way, but if you have like a cooler idea, you're taking it some different way, like we'll do that. And so like we would play G.I. Joe, and then I would say, oh yeah, and then he gets in this aircraft, and then my dad would get the spaceship out, and he'd be like, yeah, they're going to outer space, and then they'd have like a space battle, and so cool. And then I had different action figures that were similar to G.I. Joe, but they were military-based, like legitimate military-based.
Okay.
And so they were fully posable, and they had individual weapons, but they were like a generic like Dollar Tree brand, but they were like better than the G.I. Joes.
Right?
Yeah.
Generic, for some reason, like generic just seems to be so much better.
Sometimes. Well, especially when it comes to action figures.
I'd say most of the time.
Well, because the action figures at Dollar Tree were rubber.
Yeah.
And the G.I. Joes were like hard plastic, so they kind of tended to break if you play with them too hard. Whereas like the rubber ones, you could literally rip them all apart and then put them back together and then keep playing. So like I would always play like they would be in Afghanistan, or they'd be in like we'd play real. So they'd be like in Nigeria taking over this crazy drug lord and blah 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 blah. And
he would get this technical.
Yeah, it's just like that was my brain. I was just like, that's how I played. I just wanted to like have the realistic side of it, but then G.I. Joe is like no one ever really got hurt, but then my characters always got hurt, and it's like one of those kind of things. So yeah, G.I. Joe and then like posable 3-inch action figures were my jam through most of my childhood.
Okay.
And then I had, I have one particular one. His name was I actually don't know what his name was. You've heard of G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah.
So you know G.I. Joe and Cobra. There's like, it was the G.I. Joe, and then Cobra was the bad guys.
Right.
So there was this Cobra action figure, and he was like a blue scorpion looking dude.
Yeah.
And not really. He was just a blue action figure in like a blue suit that had like, it looked like a Halo figure, but a really small one.
Yeah.
Right. And so he was like my number one favorite action figure, because he wasn't Cobra. He was anything I wanted him to be. He was a superhero. He could be a G.I. Joe. He could be a spaceman. Whatever I wanted him to be, he could be it, because he had the suit that would kind of fit everything that I was doing.
It's like, mwah.
Yeah. I would take him to school, because we'd have like free period or whatever, and we'd have like recess inside, and I'd take him and play with him at recess. It was amazing. Yeah. That was my number 5. Honestly, probably... that might be my favorite, actually. I don't know. Maybe I undersold myself. But yeah, that's my number 5. All right, what's your number 4?
So, number 4. See, I just said about what? Age 5? Age 5 and 6, something like that?
You were right around there, yeah.
Okay. So, number 4 would be more of the... so, I actually got real into like the WWE wrestling. Okay. My brother and I both did at that point. We surprisingly enough, we never really bonded at that age. It was really weird, because like we were both into the same things, but we couldn't stand each other when it came to that. Or actually, vice versa. He couldn't stand me. But anyways, so I spiked on that. My bad.
You're good.
But excuse me. So my number 4 is actually the WWE action figures. So my brother and I went out and bought a bunch of them. I mean, like, we still have a chest full of action figure toys.
Really?
Yeah, of like almost all the superstars and all that kind of stuff. Like Kane, Undertaker, like all these guys. Just,
dang.
Yeah, and I would play with, and I actually ended up playing with the Beanie Babies and the action figures together at that point.
It works.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh yeah, and like it was just a bunch. To me, like growing up, it was a lot of fighting,
Yeah.
right?
Me too.
But it wasn't.
Every boy is kind of like that, though.
I mean, it's in our blood.
Yeah.
It really is.
To be violent.
It is in our nature, like to be wild and
Yeah. It's
stuff
kind of,
like that. You know, like
I've met some girls like that, but guys tend to be more like
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah, and it's almost
As
like
kids.
we're more up for adventure, whereas not.
Don't know if that's the right word you're
Adventure?
looking for. Adventure. I think we're more rambunctious. I think that's a better word.
We like to test the limits.
Yeah, we push the limits on
Push the
everything.
I'd still say
Right.
that's categorized as adventure.
Well, because I think some people get pissed. That's why I was like, I don't know if adventurous is the word.
I don't give a
But-
shit. They get pissed.
Man, Blake is just like, fuck all of you. Fuck all of you.
I still love you guys.
Please stay subscribed. Um, so, yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. So yeah, but boys are just violent. We're just crazy. Boys as kids are just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're nuts.
Well, that's why I like the guns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, which brings us up to my number 4. I went my dad for Christmas one year. He bought me this. It used to be the toy guns used to be more realistic than they are now, and I wish they were still that way. I get why they're not, but like, man, I had some cool times when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
And so like my number 4 would be my dad for Christmas one year. He got me this like M14. It was a desert tan with like camo painted. It really wasn't, but like it looked like it was. Had the orange tip and everything, but the action on it actually worked. It's like you pulled the trigger on the toy gun and the bolt came back electronically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So be like 9-10 years old and you have a gun that actually yeah,
That's awesome.
it was awesome. And so my dad, what he would do is he went to the Army surplus store and he bought us some old camo and some like headgear and some boots and stuff like that. And we'd get it all on, and we had some backpacks, and we had some woods behind our house with like a tree stand. And so we would play Army in the bush, like imaginary Army in the woods.
In the bushes.
Yeah, and so like we would, we'd be out there for a couple hours, and we would make all the sound effects with our mouths and do all kinds of crazy crap. I mean, it was just insane. But I mean, it's just like we every mission was like we'd do a different kind of missions every day, and like I remember in the summer we would go out and we'd be out like every day for like 2 hours just playing Army. And he would like med kit, so he would buy ace bandages.
Yeah.
And then like he'd pretend that he got shot, or I'd pretend that I got shot, and he'd run over and like ace bandage you, and he'd rip your shirt open and kind of like make like he'd be like if you faked being shot, he would take it seriously, which made it more real. It made it more like it made it terrifying because you're just playing and you're going like with your mouth.
Right.
But when you fake getting shot and then your dad runs over to you and like, it's gonna be okay, and he rips your shirt open, he's like, all right, I need 12, and he'd yell off something else and like, give me covering fire, and my brother with his little toy gun would go, okay. Like, it was just insane. And so like we would get in like the car, and that would be our chopper, so we'd have to get to the car.
Get to the chopper now.
So we gotta get to LZ Bravo or whatever, and then or easy whatever, and like, oh, we missed our LZ, we gotta go move on, and it was just insane. And then he'd buy like old 4th of July like fireworks, like M80s and smoke grenades, and he'd use those to intensify the.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so what he would do is he'd take like the long fuse, the extra fuse, and he'd tie like a bunch of M80s together, and then he'd light it. And so we'd be walking in the woods because he would think, I'm going to go to this objective. You circle around and flank from the left. I was like, okay. So I'd flank from the left, and all of a sudden in the middle of the woods, I would just hear, I'm like, oh my God. Like I'd be freaking out. Because it sounded like, to me as a 10-year-old, it sounded like gunfire. And so it was just so cool. And I had like the realistic looking gun that I could go out and play with. So that gun was like, I played with that for 3-4 years before it broke.
That's pretty awesome.
But yeah. So anyway, your number 3. What was your number 3?
So my number 3 has to be, so I was probably right around 10
Okay.
or so. And like I said before, with the with the professional wrestlers, WCW, whatever it is. So my brother and I both got these kind of like these more lifelike action figures, but they were the kind of like the pillow kind. So you could wrestle with them.
Oh, yeah.
So I got one of Hulk Hogan.
Nice.
And I can't remember the other guy's name. It's like, but my favorite wrestler was Hulk Hogan. So that's exactly what I got. It was like a Hulk Hogan character, but it was just basically a stuffed. It was like basically a stuffed person. It sat about about right here.
Couple
from the
feet.
Ground. How far? About 3 feet.
That's probably like 2 feet.
About 2.
Yeah.
So about 2 feet.
About here.
Okay. So about 2 feet.
Yeah.
And it was just so much fun because at that time I was getting more into sports a lot more, or more, I guess you would say I would visualize a lot more about playing sports and getting more competitive when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
And right around 10 or so. And because I was a wrestler and all that kind of stuff, so I'd practice my moves on, the stuffed toy.
Right.
If you will. The stuffed Hulk Hogan.
The stuffed Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So I'd be practicing my moves and everything like that on that time. So that would be my number 3 is the stuffed Hulk Hogan, 2 feet Hulk Hogan.
Right on.
That's it.
That's it. My number 3 is an Indiana Jones hat. The fedora.
Okay.
So, and actually it was the whole outfit, but specifically the hat, because it was once again for Christmas, and I loved Indiana Jones growing up. And when I mean loved Indiana Jones, I freaking loved Indiana Jones.
He still does.
I still do.
We'll probably be watching another episode tonight.
Another movie tonight?
Movie.
Yeah, of Indiana Jones? Yeah, absolutely. Well, there is a TV series, so depending on which one you're talking about.
No.
Have you seen it?
TV series?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Did you even know it existed?
Nope.
Okay, it's called Young Indiana Jones. It's pretty good. Anyway,
movies.
So it's still a decent series. So I got the hat for Christmas. I loved Indiana Jones. At this point, I had been Indiana Jones without the hat for 2 years. Basically, I had like the faux leather jacket or whatever it is, like the fake leather.
Yeah.
So I had the leather jacket, and then I had like the pants, the shirt, the satchel, the belt, the fake whip. My dad made a whip out of he took twine, and then he got some PVC pipe, and then he tied the PVC pipe to the end of the twine, and then he wrapped the whole thing in brown electrical tape, and then roughed it up to make it look like a whip.
No kidding.
Yeah. So my dad was, yeah.
Your dad's style was pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome. I wouldn't be where I am in the industry that I'm in without him, because he gave me the ability to have an imagination and help me spark the imagination, to be an actor and a model and an entertainer and an entrepreneur. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So he made that for me, and then my grandma noticed that I was missing something. I didn't have a hat. And so she bought me an Indiana Jones fedora. It had the Indiana Jones logo on it, on the brim, and it was a legitimate Indiana Jones fedora.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I loved that thing. I played Indiana Jones every day for like ever. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so Indiana Jones, definitely mine. Indiana Jones hat. I was Indiana Jones for 6 years straight before I grew out of the hat.
Okay.
So now I kind of want to buy another one because I miss having an Indiana Jones fedora. I still have most of the. I updated the outfit since then.
I was gonna say, I'm sure you have since you've grown since
Yeah,
then.
so I actually still in my Amazon cart right now. I have items saved to build an Indiana Jones costume. I just haven't done it yet. So maybe this Halloween. I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, you're number 2.
My number 2. So I got right into the card games.
Okay.
So I am a nerd, even though I'm not as smart as the nerds. I am a nerd in certain areas. So for me, I was an athlete, but at the same time, I got along with a lot of the nerds. So I categorize myself as both.
Right.
I'm the hybrid. So I'd say my number 2. Shoot. Yeah. Number 2. So my number 2 was Pokemon. Pokemon cards.
The Pokemon cards?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
trading cards, all that kind of stuff.
I love Pokemon. No,
Playing
it didn't
Pokemon.
make my list, but I loved Pokemon cards.
Well, I loved watching the TV series and everything like that.
I'm not ashamed to admit that I still have turned on Pokemon.
Oh, I would still watch
Yeah,
it.
like-
The only problem with today's is now I'm like,
No, I watched the Indigo League. Like one of the first, like the OGs, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I still have all the movies.
it's so good. Mine was Lugia. Or
Yu-Gi-Oh?
no, Lugia.
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 Oh.
Yeah.
Is that one?
the ancient Pokemon.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. The one where like it looks like Venice, even though it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Loved it.
so good.
Loved all of them. And
I tried
now,
to get my wife to watch some Pokemon with me. She wouldn't do it. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but it's still good. I mean, it's
Oh, shoot.
hell.
I still loved it.
I'm not even ashamed. Last month I watched an episode of Blue's Clues. The original, the OG with Steve, not Jeff, and not this new dude.
You gotta have Steve.
Here's the problem. Okay, Steve did such a good job that anybody that plays in Blue's Clues is just automatically shit on.
Well, that's what I was.
Everybody.
I actually had a conversation about that.
It's not
couple
fair.
weeks ago.
It's not fair to the actors.
Yeah,
because
it's like,
it's not their fault. It really isn't.
They're completely screwed.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like
just
Steve did such a great job.
And it's just a generational thing. Like we grew up with Steve, and we were kids when Steve left, and so like when Jeff came in, it was like,
What the crap?
well, what the shit? Like, where's Steve going? And Steve abandoned us, so now we just have like a bitter, just scar in our hearts from Steve leaving.
Damn you, Scuba Steve!
Yeah, he was leaving for college or something like that, right?
Sure. I have no idea.
I don't remember.
I don't even know why he left.
I know that so many people were hurt that they started saying rumors that Steve had killed himself. Like the actor that played Steve, they were so hurt by the fact that
was
he
rude.
left the show that they were saying that he killed himself because he kept seeing blue everywhere. I believed that until I was 14. I believed that lie until it was 14, and then I looked it up, and I found out that he's completely fine and alive, and he's in a band. Yeah. So-
Singing blues, clues, blues, clues.
Oh, man. Yeah, Blue's Clues. Good times. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying? I don't
Pokemon.
remember. Oh, Pokemon cards. Yeah. What was your highest Pokemon card? Like your most powerful?
Oh, shoot.
Remember when they used to have the Pokemon cards in the McDonald's Happy Meals?
Yeah.
Dude, that was the freaking bomb.
Let's just say I went to McDonald's way too much at that point.
Oh yeah, because you'd go like every day to get a new Pokemon card.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'd trade the ones that you got that were you already had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the most powerful ones that I could think of that I have, man, I got so many.
Do you still have them?
Oh my, I still have them all.
That's great.
Yeah, they're all in storage, and I'm like, man, I could actually sell those. for
Probably.
quite a bit. Still in mint condition.
Yeah. Well, so I have a shiny Pikachu, and then I have a Charizard. Like
So-
like an older Charizard, like I don't know, maybe it was newer. I don't know, but it's a powerful Charizard.
So I had I do have the Charizard. Do have a Charizard and a Pikachu, but I also have the Mew and Mewtwo.
Yeah, Mewtwo. Can't beat that one, man.
Had both of them. I was like,
That was in the McDonald's Happy Meal. Is that where you got it?
no,
Oh, because they had one. Now, hardly anybody got it. But
no,
so, do you play Pokemon Go?
no,
You never play Pokemon Go? And you like Pokemon? What the crap?
brother. I got as far as the Nintendo. What is it?
The Switch?
No, the old Nintendo.
Oh,
games.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got as far as that with like the yellow, blue, and red version, and then the silver and gold.
Mm.
So after those two, or after the silver and gold, I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get it.
You're done.
I was like, you guys are starting to just get too.
Fair enough. Okay, so my number 2? Yeah, number 2.
You're number 2.
So, are golf clubs considered number 2?
Yeah.
A toy? That's an adult toy, whatever. So, no, it's not. It's not. I mean, I guess it could be.
Actually, you know what? Scratch that before you go on.
Okay.
So I would say Pokemon, the trading cards,
Mm-hmm.
along with Yu-Gi-Oh.
The trading cards? Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is fun too.
So at that time, that's when my business side of me started coming in play,
Mm-hmm.
because I got to a certain point where I was so good at making decks or like battling
Oh, people would
decks.
pay you to make decks? Yeah.
They would like, hey, he's like, I need you to make this deck for me. I was like, oh, all these cards, I just need you to put them together.
Right.
Or I would go out and buy cards, and then I would charge them a little bit extra
To make your money back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super smart. There's a lot of deck builders in my school too when I was growing up. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh was fun too. I had the
Yu-Gi-Oh was a blast.
I had like what was it, 3-headed dragon thing. I had like the whole set. Like
Yeah.
all 6 cards or whatever it was to make like the big bad one. I don't know.
It was the Ultimate White Dragon or
Yep,
something like that.
Ultimate White Dragon. I had the whole set.
So you had the 3.
I had to pay a shit ton of money to get it, but I had them.
I have all 3 Egyptian god cards. And the whole set of Exodia.
Yeah, it's for those of you that don't know what Yu-Gi-Oh is or have never played it, you don't know what we're talking about, but that's an awesome set.
Yes.
Anyway,
I still haven't got the White Dragon set.
yeah, I probably still have mine. I'll give it to you. I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. So
Truck, yeah.
if you want to collect it, whatever. Anyway, my number 2 is golf clubs. So, and actually, it was a toy for myself that I bought. I golf quite a bit. I'm an avid golfer. If you ask him, he'll tell you. If you ask anybody that knows me and they say, does Aaron golf? My wife will be like, yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
I golf a lot. I've probably been to every course in Indianapolis at least twice. Like, I'm crazy golfer. I wouldn't say I'm amazing at it. I'm down to an 8 handicap, so I'm not too bad.
So what does that mean?
It means you average 8 over par
Okay.
on 18. So I'm not too bad a golfer.
Well, I averaged -8 in mine, so it's all right.
-8. So that means well, no, there is +8. So like if you're
+8 then.
if you're like a pro and you average under par all the time, you'd be like a +2 golfer or whatever.
See, so it shows that I'm lying because I
like
don't
if you-
even know.
So if you average like 3 under par for every game you ever play, you're a +3 because that means at the end of the game you have to add 3 strokes to your score to make it equal play.
Really?
That's why mine is 8 because you take away 8 strokes at the end of play. Or you can play straight up. So you can play like handicaps or straight up. So if you play straight up, it's just like you just play the course, and if you get 8 over, you get 8 over. But then
That's usually how I play.
yeah, it just gives people that are a little higher in handicap and people that are really really good, kind of puts them on an even playing field.
I need to figure out what my handicap is then.
Based on the time that we played, you're probably like a 16 handicap.
I was gonna say, it's like, I am.
You're probably almost double par
I'd say.
because you bogey or double bogey every hole, roughly,
Well, that time around I did. So when I was actually more avid,
regularly going.
yeah,
Yeah,
I would say I would either par or bogey.
so you're probably like 15, maybe a 10, but that's if you're having a really good day. So like it's whatever your average is.
Okay.
If you average like 10 over on par of 18 holes, that's what you are. Anyway, golf clubs. So I got some really nice golf clubs for myself, and I use them all the time. Although I have to get new golf clubs because they're getting worn out and I've had them so long. I go golfing so much that they've gotten worn out, and I skied my freaking driver, so now I have a sky mark on my driver, and just need to get some new clubs. Need to update them a little bit. And they've got new technology to make the ball go further, and I kind of want that. So, but yeah, so I bought some golf clubs for myself. It's not really anything special. I mean, it's a toy it's my second favorite toy that I've ever bought myself. Because I just use them all the time. So,
okay.
So you're number one.
So my number one is not anything in particular.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually just all about sports.
Okay.
So growing up, I always did wrestling. I played baseball, basketball, football, basically any kind of sport you can think of. I probably played it, and I probably like trained in it at some point. Because now I'm kind of like an all around.
Mm-hmm.
Not bragging by any means, because you guys could probably just still kick my ass. Either way. But like my favorite sport out of all of it was baseball. I grew up watching and talking baseball. So out of all that, I mean, granted, it's like the bats and the baseballs and the gloves and everything like that. Like, I would say out of everything, it was putting it all together. And then like the things that I would have that I could practice by myself with. So one of the things they came out with was, it's called a swing away. So what you do is it's a baseball that's connected to 2 straps.
Okay.
And so what you do is you connect the straps from the top to the bottom of a pole. And what it does is you throw it around and it swings around the pole. And then when it comes back, it's like it's pitching to you.
Oh.
So what I would do is, depending on what area of the ball I wanted to go, whether I want to work on hitting a high pitch, middle in, or whatever, I would adjust it to where I would just hit that every time until I felt like I was smooth in that area.
It's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So I used to hit... So I'm sure you could still see imprints in my mom's backyard of where my feet were.
Yeah.
Because I would practice hours on end of just swinging the bat with just that hit away, to where I actually broke it one day.
Oh, wow.
Because I was hitting it so much.
There you go. That's how you do it.
But I would say the hit away.
The hit away?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right on. So, okay. So my number one was... It's not one toy in specific. It's it's a lot of this stuff. So basically my airsoft gear. For those of you out west, you know what airsoft is. You play it quite a bit. For those of you in the Midwest, you're more familiar with paintball. Airsoft is a more realistic version of paintball. The guns are more realistic. They look more realistic. They act more realistic in every way. So I'm not going to explain what airsoft is because that's just a lot of work. But I had all the gear. I had the BDUs. I had the Beretta I had the M9. Excuse me, not the Beretta. I had an M9. I had an M4. The M4 was AEG or electric with battery powered, but it was mid-cap magazine, so it had 90 rounds. And for airsoft, that's not a lot of rounds, but you have to change your mags more often. So it felt really cool. I had a full face mask, but I had a helmet. Yeah, I had some comms and stuff like that, backpack and a chest plate and the whole 9 yards. I have a picture somewhere, and if I have it, I'll put it up somewhere. But yeah, airsoft gear was my jam. That's what that was from 12 till I was 18.
Okay.
I played airsoft. I played it even professionally for a little bit.
Just because you told me that a while back, I had a feeling that was going to be your number one.
Yeah,
had a feeling.
It was a big chunk of my life. I dedicated a lot of time and a lot of energy to becoming really good at tactics, becoming good at playing, and becoming good at taking care of them and buying new gear and upgrading the parts inside the guns. And it was just, it's a whole new level. Yeah, it's definitely my absolute favorite. But yeah, so let us know what your top favorite toys are down in the comments below. From your childhood, toys are a big part of a kid's life, and they obviously have a lot of impact on us. So let us know down below. Let us know what your top 5 favorite toys are from your childhood. But with that being said, that's all for this episode of Potty Mouth. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast, iTunes, Spotify, or watch it here on YouTube. If you're watching it here on YouTube, make sure to like this video so we can keep bringing you fun, silly content like this. With that being said, that's all for this episode of Potty Mouth. We'll see you Friday on Valentine's Day.
Ooh la la.
And that's all for this episode of Potty Mouth. So we'll see you next time on the Potty Cast.